Hello, friends. How am I coming in? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Hello, Metta. Welcome. Hello, John and Audrey. Hello, Jake, Yankee. Dharma learner. Okay, so this is the first time on my channel, but you have your name is very familiar from Empty Cloud. So, welcome. All right. Hello, Karen. So, as usual, we give the first 3 to 5 minutes for people to start rolling in before we officially get started. Hello, Gregory. Welcome. Hello, Briar Rose. It's been a while. Good to see you. Hello, Tate. Yeah, it's nice to see all the Empty Cloud friends coming over. Just in time for me to take about a month, a month off of doing any streams because I'm going to be going to Australia. All the momentum is going to grind to a halt. All right, so we'll get started in about a minute or so. Sharing the screen. Let's see, where are you? Dharma learner, my last day, the last day of Vasa is the 9th. It's next Sunday. That will be my last day here. I'll be going home with family to do some preparations for my trip, and then I'll be back here for a week, and then I'm gonna fly out. So I'll be back here from 22nd to the 30th, and then I'm out. Then I have no idea when I'll be back again. We'll see. All right. Hello, Jay. So let's get started. We'll get started with our beginning chant. We're going to do Badde Karata Sutta today. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Atitang nanvagameya napatakankeya nagatang yadatitang pahinang tang apatancha anagatang pachupannang chayo dhammang tatta tatta vipassati asamhirang asankupang tang vidda manubruhaye ajeva kitchang ataping ko janya maranang suve Nahino sangarang tena mahasene machuna evang biharing ataping ahoratang atanditang tangve baddekaratoti santo achikate muni. All right, the English. A single excellent nice discourse. Let not a person revive the past, or on the future build his hopes. For the past has been left behind, and the future has not been reached. Instead, with insight, let him see each presently arisen state. Let him know that and be sure of it, invincibly, unshakably. Today the effort must be made. Tomorrow death may come, who knows? No bargain with mortality can keep him and his hordes away. But one who dwells thus ardently, relentlessly by day, by night, it is he the peaceful sage has said, who has had a single excellent night. Sadhu. Always wonderful to start with Madgasekha Sutta. All right. Hello, Julie and Adelaide. Welcome. So, welcome, friends. It is Monday night, and so that means it's another 2-hour festival of Dhamma, Dhammapalooza. This is the time for the Maggasekha community to come together to engage in a variety of Dhamma-related activities. We've done some chanting. We're going to do some guided meditations later. In between, who knows? Each Dhammapalooza is different because it is a community-guided event. The community comes together here, and your input decides what the topics are going to be, and what we're going to discuss, or if nothing, then maybe we're going to read a sutta. So for the next couple of minutes, as I'm going through the introduction, if you have any questions you'd like me to answer, you can put that in the chat. If you have any Buddhist topics you would like me to talk about, Buddhism, meditation, monasticism, etc., you can put that in the chat. You could also talk to each other in the chat, right? Get to know each other, say hello. You know, sometimes people like to, say, yeah, hi, I'm such and such from such and such. If you're talking together in the chat, discussing Dhamma, discussing the topic, you're not interrupting me, you're not disrespecting me, none of that. So feel free to talk and discuss and get to know each other in the chat. This is a community event after all. And if there's no questions, there's no topics, then we fall back to Old Faithful, which is reading a sutta. Right? I can talk about lots and lots of topics. But if I have a choice, it's always better to read a sutta. It's always better to hear the word of the Buddha directly than from me or any other person. It's always good to read it. And people say that they like to hear me read the suttas. I've had compliments on that. So it can be like a fireside chat. You can lay back and listen to Bhante read the suttas. All right. Hello, Douse. Welcome. Jay Kala. Robert. Bella and Gautam. Welcome. Bella and Gautam and John and Audrey, my two power couples who always came to every morning monastery experience. We will get back to morning monastery experience in December. That's certain. For how long? Who knows? For those of you who are brand new to me, usually this is something you should keep an eye out for. When I'm not in a monastery or a place where I have to kind of follow the schedule, when I have my the ability to do my own schedule, every morning, 8 a.m. New York time, I do a half-hour morning. I call it morning monastery experience. So it's like it's a little precepts, chanting, and also a little Dhamma talk, like 5 or 6 minute Dhamma talk. So it's a good way to start the morning, at least for those of you on the East Coast. Sometimes people from England and different places would come on, and it's not the morning for them, but it's good enough. All right, so I see some questions. How are things at Empty Cloud? Okay, I'm leaving soon. I've been here for 5 months. It's long enough. It's kind of funny how I've developed this, like, since starting my nomad time, I've developed this kind of like feeling after about 2 months. It's like, I think it's time to move on. I kind of like not staying too long in one place. But at least I have good friends here, so that's always good. Robert has a very good question. Is there any one specific aspect of the path you see most people neglecting that could improve one's practice? One specific aspect of the path. You know, nothing specific that comes to mind. I think what people neglect is the ethos and the attitude and the mindset of the Noble Eightfold Path. I think that's probably what is most missing. And by this, what I mean is you never really hear monastics talk a lot about, following the Noble Eightfold Path. Right? The Buddha calls it the Arya Pariyesana, the noble quest. And I think that when you read the suttas, you see this kind of mindset of the path that the Buddha puts forth. And it's not really something that's kind of taught. I think that kind of having that ethos of this path being like a journey, like a noble quest, right? And that, there are lots and lots of different practices, like a toolbox, right? On this journey that the Buddha gives. And you use these practices and techniques during different opportunities and different applications during your experiences. But that attitude, that mindset of, I am on the path. I am a Maggasekha. That's what Maggasekha means. Magga means path. Aryo Atangiko Maggo, the Noble Eightfold Path. So this is something that is, I think, very important. Something that's kind of missing in how a lot of people teach Buddhism today. People get kind of caught in the weeds of a lot of specifics, but they don't talk about like the ethos that the Buddha lays down. Right? If you're on the Maggasekha Discord, you kind of see a little bit of that ethos. You hear that from me, and I'll post when I'm actually being social and not overly busy and energetic. I'll post every day, my greetings, and I'll put my what we call the Maggasekha ethos, which is the Buddhist ethos. Right? I put 4 things: mountains, mountain, fire, banner, lion. Right? The Buddha says, what? Live like the mountains are closing in. Practice like your head's on fire. Raise high the banner of seers. Roar your lions, roar. I think that this kind of understanding of the path, of taking on this journey, taking on this path, becoming one with the path, this, I think, is what is most neglected. This, I think, is what helps with the zeal and the desire to want to follow the path, even during the hard times. Right? Yes, these are hard times, but I'm not giving up. I'm following down the path. Right? Just like all those men and women who followed the path before me, I can do it. I can make it. Right? So this, I think, this is what is most neglected. All right. So let's see. Hello, Diego. Hola. Hello, Visaka. Welcome. Abby, welcome. All right. So John has a question. Let's see. Do we have a person watching us on Twitch? Welcome. Because we are streaming to YouTube, Twitch, and I used to be able to stream to Facebook, but something went wrong. I don't know what's going on with Facebook anymore. But yeah. So, but of course, most of us are on YouTube, and the discussion is in the YouTube chat. So, Julie, I actually will be coming to Canada next year. Elaine is talking about it, and she's looking for people who might want to kind of group together to help me get up there. So Elaine in the chat, and Abby, her daughter, you guys can connect maybe. I have more friends in Canada than I thought. All right. Hey, Ivy May. Hello, Bill. Hi, Risa. Hello. All right. So back to the questions. Ivy May is Abby's little daughter who watches the stream sometimes. We have a huge diversity. We have a huge range of age on Dhammapalooza. So John has a question. When children do things that are unskillful, like a kid killing an ant with a magnifying glass, they carry that bad karma with them, even if they were ignorant children when they did bad deeds. Yeah. Kids can create karma. That's the way it is. You know, it's still intention. I can remember actually, like, the lightning bugs when I was young. Like, that was part of the things that we did. We wanted to catch a lightning bug and rip out the light to have the light. And like my friends and my cousins would do it, and I did it a couple times, but I never felt right about it. It just didn't feel right to me. I don't know. Especially a bug who wasn't harmful, and who brought like lots of light and things like that. But yeah, this is why it's good to teach the kids not to do it. But on the other hand, sometimes they need to do it, right? So that they can understand, they can see it for themselves. Yeah, children are ignorant, but aren't we ignorant? Aren't we full of greed, hatred, and delusion, stuck in the samsaric state? Yeah. Children or adults, we're deluded. Diego, hello, Bante and friends. Bante, could you help me understand the experience I had on Saturday while meditating? I was doing samatha and I began seeing a white dot in the center. Then a pleasurable electricity covered my body. Thoughts were like bubbles, not the usual train of thought. And my breath became so shallow it was almost perceptible. So yeah, what that sounds like to me, this is always hard to have somebody tell you what your experience is, especially if it's a teacher you ask the question, because you kind of attach to what they might say. So I wonder if I should take a guess. Like I notice a few signs. I could say something, but I almost wonder if it's skillful for me to say it, to be honest with you. In general, what this sounds like to me is you have some various qualities that are the symbols of getting into deeper samadhi. I would like to, if you could explain a little bit more the white dot in the center, clarify that a bit for me. But something like pleasurable electricity, that sounds like it's what you call it, piti, right? Like a pleasurable feeling. I don't know what you mean by thoughts were like bubbles. You mean that they were arising, but you weren't attached to them? My breath became shallow. Yeah, like in general, I would say that these are all kind of signs that you were going in the right direction towards a deeper states of samadhi. That's what I would say in general. Two and a half years old, Ivy. Bill. I'm feeling as if I'm not progressing. Any suggestions? Keep going. Keep practicing. This is the benefit of seeing it, of really taking on the ethos of following the path. You will hit plateaus. It will not be just a smooth ascent. Sometimes you will be going like this for quite a while. That happens. I mean, I've been doing this 15 years, close to that. I've been meditating about 17, but being a Buddhist, I've been about 14, 15 years, somewhere around there. And there's been plenty of times where I hit plateaus. Plenty of times. A bunch of them since I became a monastic, actually. So what I would say is focus on, are you following the Noble Eightfold Path? Are you practicing the various elements of the path? Right? That's the most important thing. Are you practicing sila? Are you practicing dana? Are you practicing samadhi? Right? Are you practicing all the aspects of the path? Focus on that. You might notice that there's your intuition, your path is telling you to focus on one thing more specifically in the short term than others. And the other thing I would say is sometimes if it seems like it's getting too much or you're kind of stuck, sometimes it's good to go back to the basics. Right? Focusing on more simple, basic things. But as long as you're trying to follow the Noble Eightfold Path, trying different things, really trying to work with your path and where you're at, then you'll be progressing, even if it's really slow, right? As long as you're moving forward, you're progressing. Just keep going. And, if you say you feel like you're not progressing, What might be a good thing is to have a longer talk with somebody like a monastic or teacher to go over a bit more specifics, and you might be able to iron out some more specifics then. But that's what I've given you is good general response, I think. Jake says, what can we do to cultivate metta to those who cause harm to others? When meditating, I try to extend metta to all living beings. But my mind wants to make exceptions. Everyone except that guy. Yeah, of course. Why do you think when I do a guided metta meditation, I really talk about how I say this exact thing? Because this is the mind state. Of course, this is what's going to happen. Everyone except this guy or that girl, whatever. That's normal. You have to practice to overcome that. You reflect on that metta is for all beings. All right, we reflect on all beings are siblings in samsara. We're all stuck in this state. We're all have many lives that we've been really good. We've done lots of good things and we've done lots of bad things. And when you understand that, who a person is in this life makes no difference. It matters very little, at least in terms of metta. All right, we're all beings. You know, just myself as a human, I'm a being that travels the samsaric state. And a female kangaroo travels the samsaric state. Same kind of being. It's a being in samsara. So myself, I consider myself a pretty good person in this life. Whoever's like the worst person living on the planet right now, same thing as me. Same thing, beings in samsara. So I can give metta to them. Easy. The everyone except for that person mindset, that's a deluded, ignorant mind that doesn't see the bigger picture. But that's normal. You shouldn't feel bad that happens. All right? You shouldn't feel like you did something wrong. That's what your mind is doing. So you see that, I see you. No, for all beings. Just like the sun shines down, rays, all equally, without any distinctions. Same thing with your metta. For all beings, without any distinctions. That's why it's, I think, very important to not practice too much metta towards individuals. But you don't really see that in the suttas. Right? This practicing metta for individuals is, with rare exception, does not exist in the suttas, and it's mostly a later thing. I think that the Buddha, even compassion, right? You practice compassion the same way you practice metta for all beings equally. Right? This is so that you don't get too wrapped up in this person, not that person, this person, not that person, all these things. And you spend all day, you waste all day of your metta, trying to figure out who deserves it and who doesn't. Too much of a waste. So all beings, you reflect on these things and you just reflect, okay, I'm going to give it to all beings. No matter who. I'm no better or worse, nor am I equal to any other being, right? Well, these are the three conceits. I'm greater than, I'm better, I'm less than, I'm equal to. Abby says, I remember about 90% of my dreams in great detail. Is this significant from moments of past lives? Um, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't necessarily know, think that this is something that has to do with past lives. I know somebody in the Tibetan tradition might have more to say about it, but in terms of the early texts, in terms of the suttas, this is not something that's dreams are very, very rarely spoken of in one way or another. Diego says, in response to his previous question about the states, I'll try not to get attached to it. That's the most important thing. Don't get attached. Um, and don't. And the other thing is, especially when you start to go deep, pay attention to your excitement about it. Or now that I've kind of put in your mind, oh, these are signs that I'm going deeper. The next time you get to that point, you're gonna be like, oh, these are the time. Oh, I'm going deeper. And then that in and of itself, that excitement is going to keep you from going deeper. So watch that excitement. Observe it. Tyler has a good question. And this is this your first stream with me, Tyler? I don't know that I know the name. Can you share about your perspective of what renunciation looks like for a layperson? Letting go of whatever you can, however much you can. That's what renunciation is, right? Nekkhamma sankappo. Thoughts of letting go. So, as a layperson, letting go of whatever you can, however much you can. That's what it looks like. A layperson can't let go of their job. If you have a child, children, you can't let go of your children. I'm letting go of my children. No, you have responsibilities to them, right? Responsibilities to spouse, partner, etc. So you practice letting go in many other ways, through generosity, through living by virtuous principles, through observing that desire to want more and trying not to feed it, to letting go of a lot of the things you might already have. If you have too much things and your basement is being overwhelmed, you might need to let go of some things. Think of yourself as going through life with a backpack, and everything that you own, not just physically, but all the mental attachments as well, is in that backpack. And it's a damn heavy backpack. See what you can do to lighten that backpack. See what you can do to let go. Practice letting go. Okay, so Robert says, and I want to make a point here. That's why I'm bringing this up. It's not a question. As for metta, for one that might be an enemy, don't think of people as enemies. That's important. Even if they're literally trying to kill you, try to train yourself to not think of another person as an enemy. I know in some forms of Buddhism, they use that like near enemy, far enemy. Some translations of metta will say, metta for your enemies, metta for a friend, etc. Try to avoid using that term. Even if the whole world is an enemy thinks of you as an enemy, try to move towards having no enemies in this world. Right? Try to move towards that. I can't think of any one person in this world who I think of as an enemy. Even people who have really, really hurt me and whom I never really want to see ever again in this lifetime, I don't consider them an enemy. And I know even if I lived with them again, it would just be to my detriment and my suffering. Still, I don't consider them an enemy. Enemy is a term from your end. Think about that. I also use compassion. It's okay. It's good. Wow, that person is trying to be happy, but is completely ignorant of how to go about being happy and is just making it worse. This is okay. The problem is this can really fall into pity and looking down on somebody. Oh, they're so stupid. They're so ignorant. They're so they just don't know. They can't see, right? So you have to be careful of the mindset behind that statement, like how your mind is saying it. And oftentimes it doesn't hurt to throw it back at yourself too. Yeah, I'm ignorant too. I don't know what the heck I'm doing either. I'm just trying to do my best. There are a couple of suttas which the Buddha instructs sending metta to an enemy, then to all. Not that I know of. You may be talking about Kakachupama Sutta, the simile of the saw, where the Buddha talks about if somebody is harming you, to practicing metta towards them. But he's not calling anybody enemies. So, like I said, with rare exception, in the suttas, very little. There's no metta towards individuals. Kakachupama Sutta is one exception. Same thing is Anguttara Nikaya 5.197? Removal of anger, removal of resentment, it's called. And this is where the Buddha gives 5 ways of removing anger and resentment towards an individual person. Right? This is another exemption. And one of them is metta, obviously. That's the first one. So there are less than a handful of exemptions. But for the most part, metta, when spoken of directly and how to do it, it's not about being towards one person. I have frequent plane crash dreams. Well, growing up Italian, that meant like every time like you had a dream that you died, that means you got like an extra day of life or something like that. So man, if you have plane crash dreams all the time, you're going to live a long time. When I'm on the plane, if I have a window seat, I'll often have like thoughts and visions of what I do if I fell out of the plane for some reason, whether there is a malfunction or whatever. Like what I would do in the last minute before I hit the ground. I have those kind of visions, but I don't have dreams like that. At least not that I know. I don't really remember my dreams. Brandon, when you have a bad day, is there a particular sutta you read to help? Uh, there's a very good sutta called let me bring it up. It is in the chanting book. And it depends on what you mean by bad. There's different types of bad days. Like some days, if it's like kind of like a depressive or a negative thoughts or feeling down, sometimes that's like about metta and compassion to myself. So any kind of metta sutta would be good for that. Some days it's about needing a kick in the butt to kind of move forward. But I like this sutta where you have a deva the uh, coming to the Buddha and saying, "It's hard, Bhante, to do this practice." Right? Because so this reminds me of, well, yeah, it's hard. Of course, I'm going to have bad days. Of course, I'm going to feel down. Of course, I'm going to feel like a failure. Of course, I'm going to feel like I'm not getting anywhere. Right? That's part of the path. And you have this sutta with Kamada where he goes, "Oh, Bhante, Bhante, it's so hard. It's so hard." The Buddha says, "Well, my disciples do it even though it's hard." Right? The Buddha's like, "Yeah, so it's hard. Do it. Sometimes I need that." And sometimes I need like something that's an inspiring thing on the path. Let's see if I think of anything specific. I'd have to delve into my monastic compendium that I wrote down. Like I copy paste different sayings of the Buddha. There's so many. Mm. Yeah, I think that's about all I can think of. Tate. So if we shouldn't use specific people for metta practice, I didn't say we shouldn't. It's up to you. There's lots of different types of Buddhism and ways of viewing things and lots of different practices. But in terms of the suttas, in terms of the early texts, there's what's typical of starting with a loved one, then moving down to an enemy. That's from the Visuddhimagga. That's from 1500 years after the Buddha, right? So that's very, very something that comes pretty late. Um, People like it. It works for people, but never worked for me. For me, to finding the early text way of practicing, that really kicked metta up a notch for me. Lots of notches. But anyway, do we still use common phrases? May you be happy, healthy, etc., or something else? So yeah, so metta can be used like you can use um, both words and visuals. Right? May all beings. Maybe for this guided meditation coming up at towards the end, we'll do a metta meditation, right? And I'll teach you guys my basic metta meditation so you can see it. But the words and the visuals don't really. It's not that you have to have a specific ones. It's actually these are like things that you can really tailor to what works for you. You know. So it's one of those things where you have license to play with. You have license to play with the words and visuals. See what really works for you to bring the mind closer to freedom from ill will and full of warm-hearted feelings of friendliness. Josh says, I heard Ajahn Sona say right concentration might not be the best translation of samadhi. How should samadhi be thought of? So, concentration as an English translation is not good. And the reason it's not good is not because the word is wrong per se, it's because of our connotation of the word. When we think of, in basic English parlance, we think of concentrate. When we hear that word, we think of an active, willful, forcing, concentrating. That's not what this is. So this is why many translators will not use that word. I think that's a good thing. Ajahn Brahm says stillness. What does Bhante Sujato say? One-pointedness, some people translate it as. But samadhi is where you are totally, or immersion. I think Bhante Sujato translates that as immersion. As your mind, as like you're following the breath, or whatever samatha object of meditation you're following, your mind is becoming calm, tranquil, peaceful, more resting more on the object. Not because you're going like this, because it naturally is occurring as you're doing the practice. For instance, with jhanas, you don't get jhanas. You don't reach out and grab jhanas. That's not how it works. You set the groundwork for it. And then when the causes and conditions are there, it comes. So your object, if you're following the breath, your goal until you get to that point is just follow the breath. You get distracted away, come back. Distracted away, come back. Just the active will there is just coming back to the breath. Just coming back. And not even necessarily fighting your mind to come back, because if you do, you might notice that that causes more agitation in the mind. So the idea is that you are setting the groundwork for the mind to become more still, more calm, more tranquil, more immersed on the object. And as you do that, your mind naturally slips into deeper and deeper states of samadhi, and then into jhanas. So this is very important to understand it in this way. You know what? I want to try something. I've never tried to stream a video, but I want to show. I'm going to use this as an example. Let me just see if I can find it first, and let me see if I can test. It's not a long video. It's somewhat short. But it's one of my favorite Ajahn. Okay, here we go. It's 3 minutes long. Let's see. Let's see if I can run this here. This will be the first test of Dhammapalooza of the streaming service doing a video. I don't know how this is going to go. Can you see? Tell me if you can hear it.
Yeah, to meditation practitioners that actually don't really understand this point yet.
Okay, very easy. The old simile of the cup. Hopefully, you can actually see the juice in the
Can you
top
hear
of the
this?
cup there.
Maybe she can see it.
Okay, I'll hold it closer. I'll come closer to the camera. Now, this cup of juice represents my mind. And meditation is all about stilling the mind. The word samadhi should never be thought of as concentration. That is a bad translation. Stillness is a much more accurate translation for samadhi. So meditation is trying to still the mind. So in this simile, I'm trying to still this cup of juice. I'm focusing. I'm mindful. I'm putting forth effort. I'm very skillful. I've been trying this for years. But the juice in the cup is not still yet. Many meditators just try harder and harder and harder, and all they do is get frustrated. They can never get any success in their meditation. You should realize you can never still the mind by holding it, no more than you can still a cup of juice by holding it. Until you realize there is a way to keep the juice in the cup perfectly still. You put it down. When you put it down, it moves more at first, but you leave it there, and then it becomes perfectly still, all by itself. And that's exactly how you get your mind to be perfectly still. You stop holding it. You stop making it still. You let it go, detach, stop interfering. And as you just leave it alone, you see the mind become more and more still until it becomes perfectly still. Because that's its nature, to be still. When we hold it, when we grasp it, when we attach it, that's what makes it move. So that is a simile which everybody should be able to understand. Unfortunately, the people just can't put anything down. We grasp, we attach, and we keep doing things. Even sometimes to adapt this simile. Some meditators, they sort of get the point. They realize they have to put things down to keep it still. So they put it down, maybe for a minute. And then they pick it up again. Is it still yet? Is it still yet? When's it going to be still? So they keep interfering with the process. So when you let things go, you have to let things go totally for a long period of time so the mind can really stop and be still.
That video, geez, 12 years ago, maybe 13 years ago, I saw it. That was a very, very powerful, powerful thing for me to see that. Yeah, it was definitely what I needed. I love that video because that message is just perfect. Yeah, the other video says it's from 12 years ago. All right. Very good. So that's my answer. All right. Oh boy, this is a good question. Who was the first person in the suttas to parinibbana? I don't know. I'm trying to think of maybe one of the early people who became awakened and then died shortly after. I don't know. I bet you, I know, if you want to know this question, I guarantee you ask like a Sri Lankan monk this question, they'll probably tell you an answer. They know these kind of things, like these like random, like who was the first such and such. They know a lot about the different monastics in the suttas and things like that. Good night, Ivy May. Although that was like 15 minutes ago, so she's not there. And Isla. All right. So we're coming up on 9. I don't see any other questions in the chat. Might be a good time to do our guided meditation. Oh, I was thinking we'll do guided meditation and then we can read a bit of a sutta afterwards. My thought today was, let's do like a random Anguttara Nikaya sutta. Or a couple of them because they're small. So it was like, I almost would like to do like that wheel. What was that thing? The Price is Right or whatever. Which number of the Anguttara Nikaya should we go over? Or a dice. But let's do our. All right, Tate. Very good. So yeah, so we have an hour left. So we'll do our guided meditation, and we'll do some sutta readings and Dhammapalooza after sutta readings and Dhammapada readings after that. Greg, just quickly, try it for yourself and see what works. That's what you should do. Try it for yourself and see what works. I have tried multiple ways. And I understand, and looking at Anapanasati and knowing the suttas as I do, I don't see Anapanasati as a list that you're supposed to do. Mostly it's a list of guideposts, right? And I came across that from understanding the suttas, from listening to different monastics teach it in different ways, and then testing it out and seeing what works for me. So I fall into most of it is a set of guideposts, not an activity checklist that you do. All right, now I'm up to the second one. I'm up to the third one. No, I don't see it that way. There are a few that are an active will, but a bunch of them are just guideposts that are showing you like this is where you're at. And then when you know where you're at, then you can apply some of the steps that are more active. So it's a mix, I would say, a mix of both. But you have to put it into practice for yourself to find out. That's my answer. See what works for you. Okay, friends. So set your body up in a position that works for you, whether cross-legged on a cushion and a chair and a couch, etc. We'll spend some time scanning through the body. We do this for 2 reasons. The first is so that we can slowly move our mind from the external to the internal. letting go of all the external things, the sights and the sounds, the smells of the room around you, moving towards this mind and body. And secondly is to be able to observe the body and understand how the posture will cause possible pain and suffering later on, or is quite stable and will allow you to sit for longer periods. So start by placing your focus and attention on the feet. Placing focus and attention means to focus in on any sensation or feeling that arises in that part of the body, such as the feeling of the feet pressing against the floor or the cushion. When you're ready, scan up through the ankles and into the calves. As you're scanning, if you notice any small feelings of discomfort or imbalance in your posture, leaning and slouching and pains, now is the time to adjust your posture, move around. It's better to move around and wiggle around in the beginning to try to find a good posture, a stable posture that will allow you to move less for longer periods of time. If you want your mind to go deep and calm, your body also has to be deep and calm. So try to set your body up in a way that will allow you to be calm and peaceful for as long as possible. When you see a pain or a discomfort or an imbalance, adjust. Moving up past the knees into the thighs. What is the feeling of the thighs pressing against the cushion, the chair, etc.? Up through to the pelvis and hips. The hips and pelvis are a very important part of your posture. Pay attention to how it impacts both the legs and the spine. Moving up the spine through the abdomen and the chest. Check to see that the spine is not leaning or slouching here or there. Up through to the shoulders, checking to make sure they're hanging loosely. And then down through to the elbows and hands. Observing how the elbows and hands also impact the spine and your posture. Finally, up to the head. Checking that the chin is parallel to the floor. The head's not leaning and slouching. Ideally, the body is like a house. The lower body, the firm foundation. The upper body and the head resting on top, each level. With a neutral spine, not bending and stretching here or there. Just everything resting comfortably on top of each other. When you're done setting up your body in a comfortable and stable position, let the body go and take 3 deep breaths. And then let the breath go. From here on in, try not to manipulate or control the breath in any way. This body's been breathing from the moment you were born and will continue to do so until the second you die. Doesn't need you to do its job. Your job is to simply observe, investigate, and abide with the breath. We'll now begin our Metta practice. The practice of Metta uses words and visuals. The words and visuals, however, are just a means to an end. They are tools to help you develop a mind free from ill will, hatred, anger, and aversion, and to develop warm-hearted feelings of friendship for all beings. During this practice, I will be offering both words and visuals. It's up to you if you'd like to use them or adapt them. If you've not heard guided meditation with me before, it's useful to try out what I offer. And then if it doesn't work out, so let it go. We'll be practicing a technique from the suttas called exalted release of mind, where we start pervading metta in a small area, just surrounding us, then making that area ever larger. So begin by visualizing a sphere, a circle surrounding you, just big enough to cover you. And as we say the words and use the visuals, you want to fill that sphere with your metta, with your goodwill, your friendliness, your good wishes and hopes. So repeat the words. May I find happiness. May I find peace. May I live in friendship with all beings. May I find release from suffering. Since we are starting in a small area, since we are going to give our metta to all beings in existence, first it's important that we spend time pervading ourselves with our goodwill, our friendly thoughts and wishes. If we have no goodwill, friendliness for ourselves, how can we give it to others? Repeat the words. May I find happiness. May I find peace. May I live in friendship with all beings. May I find release from suffering. When you say these words, they're not meant to be a mantra repeated over and over again fast. Every time you say a line, do so with an honest and sincere wish, view, hope that beings do find and understand what is right, what is correct and good. If you like, you can visualize yourself in front of you, like looking in a mirror. You can say the words to that image. Continue to pervade that sphere around you. Fill it with your goodwill, friendliness. May I find happiness. May I find peace. May I live in friendship with all beings. May I find release from suffering. Now spread your sphere out, making it larger, continuing to fill it. Spread your sphere to encompass the entirety of whatever building you're in. Whatever human beings, animals, insects, invisible beings, whatever beings may be in the building. Fully immerse, pervade the building with your sphere, with your goodwill and friendliness. May all of us in this building find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. If by this point a voice in your mind, a part of your mind has come in up to this point and started saying, giving commentary about how this is corny or silly or it doesn't work, that tells you that it's working. It's uprooting ill will in the mind that's arising. Mara is coming to try to convince you not to practice metta. Keep going. It's working. Spread your sphere larger to encompass the entirety of whatever town, city, village that you're in. May all of us in this town find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Spread your sphere to encompass the entirety of whatever state, region, or province you're in. May all of us in this region find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Spread your sphere to encompass whatever country that you're in. If you have a visual of the country in your mind, you can visualize it completely surrounded by your sphere of metta. All the many millions of beings, humans, animals, insects, unseen beings, whatever beings there may be. May all beings in this country, may all of us find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Spread your sphere to encompass the entirety of this planet, Earth. You can visualize a pale blue dot in a sea of black, completely surrounded and pervaded, immersed in your sphere of goodwill and friendliness. Hundreds of billions, if not trillions of beings, the air, land, and sea, living out their lives. A small island teeming with life. May all of us on this planet Earth find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Friends, when we practice metta, we practice just as the sun shines its rays on all beings equally. When we practice metta, we don't give metta to some and not to others. Metta is appamana, limitless, Mahagada, exalted. It goes beyond categories, classifications. When we practice metta, country affiliation doesn't matter. Race, sex, gender, political affiliation, religious affiliation, all of these things don't make any difference. We never hold back our metta for anything or anyone. We give it out freely. And immensely. Continue to spread your sphere out into the cosmos to encompass the entirety of the Milky Way with its hundreds of billions of stars, if not trillions of planets. And who knows how many beings in our home galaxy. May all of us in the Milky Way find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Continue to spread your sphere out into infinity, encompassing this universe. There are any other universes, dimensions, multiverses, whatever. Wherever there may be beings in existence, fellow siblings in suffering, beings in the samsaric state. Encompass all beings everywhere with your sphere of metta. May all of us in existence find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Slowly start to open your eyes. Come back through the cosmos to your body, to the room around you. Coming from the internal to the external. Comparing your mind state before the metta practice to now. And contemplating any experiences you've had during the meditation. All right, friends. So, we're going to play a game that I just literally made up during the meditation. That came to my mind. I said before the meditation about randomly picking a suttas from the Anguttara Nikayas. And the idea came to my mind to do this. When I say go, I want people to put a random number in the chat from 1 to 11. The first person who types in, that's the Anguttara Nikaya number that we're going to go to. So go. A number between 1 and 11. Karen got a 7. So we are to the book of sevens. All right. So now, a number between 1 and 100. Okay. Let me post there. Okay, now that's the break. When I say go, a number between 1 and 100. Go. I think Julie got in before I said go. Or that was pretty quick. I don't know. I don't know if Julie came in before the go or not. What do you think, Julie? Did you type 99 before I said go? Well, if you're being honest, so we'll go with 99. Why not? This is only the first one. We'll be doing this a couple times. We'll see. So 99. This also can give you guys a good glimpse of how to actually maneuver through the suttas, right? This is a good thing. I'm going to remember this. Are you sure you don't want to go to Sutta 1124? No. All right. So chapter of worthy offerings. Maybe I should say 1 to 70, because towards the end it gets a little clunky. Lots of repetition. Yeah. So let me go to sin had 5. So let's go to 5. Wealth in brief. Mendicants, there are these 7 kinds of wealth. What's 7? The wealth of faith, the wealth of ethical conduct, the wealth of conscience, the wealth of prudence, learning, generosity, and wisdom. These are the 7 kinds of wealth. Faith and ethical conduct are kinds of wealth, as are conscience and prudence. Learning and generosity, and wisdom is the 7th kind of wealth. When a woman or a man has these kinds of wealth, they're said to be prosperous. Their life is not in vain. So let the wise devote themselves to faith, ethical conduct, ethical behavior, confidence, and insight into the teachings, remembering the instructions of the Buddha. All right. So there's the break. First person, number 1 to 11. Go. All right. Jake has 3 and Jim has 3. I guess it's going to be 3. Ah, very good. Book of Threes. Let's do, for this one, since there's 150. Yeah, let's do 1 to 80. Number between 1 and 80. Oh, sin. 11. I have to wait for the go. Remember the go. So what you do is you type it in the chat and then you hover over the enter button and you hear go and you go like that. So 3, 2, 1, go. Nobody's playing anymore, I guess. Either that or there's something going on with the internet. Tyler says 56. We got 56. Let's go. Second 50. Yeah. 51 to 60, the chapter on the Brahmins. Let's see, 56. Falling apart. Let's do Bhikkhu Bodhi, since there's a... Oh, Bhikkhu Bodhi translates this as depopulation. That's interesting. Let me see this. Oh, no, that's not what I'm looking for. That makes me want to see the Pali here. Hold on, let me Pali. Depopulation. That's an interesting. Falling apart, dissolution, disintegration. I wonder where Bhikkhu Bodhi got depopulation. That's weird. So falling apart is exactly it. Then a well-to-do Brahmin went up to the Buddha and seated, maybe it's something in the sutta, and seated to one side, he said to him, Master Gotama, I have heard that Brahmins of the past who were elderly and senior, the teachers of teachers, said, in the old days, this world was a crowded. Oh, Bhante Sujato's wonderful translations here. In the old days, this world was crowded as hell, just full of people. The villages, now we know why Bhikkhu Bodhi translates as depopulation. The villages, towns, and capital cities were no more than a chicken's flight apart. Wow. It's almost like the world was a megalopolis. What is the cause, sir? What is the reason why these days human numbers have dwindled? A decline in population is evident, and whole villages, towns, cities, and countries have disappeared. These days, Brahmin humans just love illicit desire. They're overcome by immoral greed and mired in wrong thoughts. Taking up sharp knives, they murder each other, and so many people perish. This is the cause. This is the reason why these days human numbers have dwindled. Furthermore, because these days humans have just love illicit desire, the heavens don't provide enough rain. So there's famine, a bad harvest with blighted crops that turn to straw, and so many people perish. This is the cause. This is the reason why these days humans' number have dwindled. Furthermore, because these days humans just love illicit desire, native spirits let vicious monsters loose, and so many people perish. This is the cause, this is the reason why these days human numbers have dwindled. Excellent, Master Gautama, excellent. From this day forth, may the Master Gautama remember me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge for life. All right. A number between 1 and 11. After I say go, in 3, 2, 1, go. I kind of like this, getting just random snippets. We can do this with the Samyutta Nikaya as well. All right. Metta has 4. There's the break. So, a number between 1 and 80. In 3, 2, 1, go. Metta must have good internet over there in Ireland. She's rocking. She's getting quick draw. So we have 4.77. Let's go. All right. Book of Fours. Second 50. Chapter on guaranteed. 4.73, 4, 5, 6, 7. Unthinkable. Huh? All right. One of the best suttas ever. This is a very important sutta. Bhikkhu Bodhi translates it as imponderables. The 4 imponderables. So this was, Metta, this was a good call. Very good. Good random roulette here. All right. Mendicants, these 4 things are unthinkable. They should not be thought about. And anyone who tries to think about them will go mad or get frustrated. What for? The scope of the Buddhas. The scope of one in jhana. The scope of karma. Speculation about the world. These are 4 unthinkable things that that should not be thought about. And anyone who tries to think about them will go mad or get frustrated. That's the 4th one. See, every time I bring this up, I have a block on the 4th one. I have a block on the speculation about the world. I got to remember that. All right. So let's do one more. We have time for one more, then we'll do Dhammapada verses. All right, let me block it off. Number between 1 and 11 in 3, 2, 1, go. Douse gets in with a 6. I'm glad that it's not the same person getting in every time. Because that means that tells me that there's not an internet advantage. So Douse has a 6. Very good. So we are in the book of sixes. And we block out a number between 1 and 80 in 3, 2, 1, go. Number 1. All right, so we're in the book of Sixes. The first sutta in the book of Sixes. Let's go. Verse 50, first chapter, worthy of offerings. So I have heard, at one time the Buddha was staying near Savatthi, in Jeta's grove, in Anathapindika's monastery. There the Buddha addressed the mendicants. Mendicants, venerable sir, they replied. The Buddha said this: Mendicants, a mendicant with 6 qualities is worthy of offerings, dedicated to the gods, worthy of hospitality, worthy of religious donation, worthy of veneration with joined palms. And in this is the supreme field of merit for the world. What's 6? It's a mendicant who, when they see a sight with their eyes, is neither happy nor sad. They remain equanimous, mindful, and aware. When they hear a sound with the ears, when they smell an odor with the nose, when they taste a flavor with the tongue, when they see a touch with their body, when they feel a touch with their body, when they know a thought with their mind, they're neither happy nor sad. They remain equanimous, mindful, and aware. A mendicant with these 6 qualities is worthy of offerings, dedicated to the gods, worthy of hospitality, worthy of a religious donation, worthy of veneration with joined palms, and is the supreme field of merit for the world. That is what the Buddha said. Satisfied, the mendicants were happy with what the Buddha said. Did I miss? Yeah, Jake. Speculation about the world is like, is the world finite? Is the world infinite? Like this kind of things. That's the main 2. Is the world finite or is it infinite? Like these kind of things. Is there a beginning? Is there an end? These are the kind of things about speculating about the world. As Douse puts it quite well. All right. So, friends, tell me about what you thought about that. That was the first time we've ever done Anguttara Nikaya Roulette. I kind of liked it. I thought it was quite energetic and fun. But you guys give me some feedback on that, and then we'll go to Dhammapada verses. All right. Let's go to hell. We shall go to hell as if brought there, as if dropped there. So we are in hell. Dhammapada verses 306 to 319. The liar goes to the state of woe. Also he who, having done wrong, says, I did not do it. Men of base actions both. On departing, they share the same destiny in the other world. There are many evil characters and uncontrolled men wearing the saffron robe. Monks. Right? So this is ancient teaching saying, even at this time, there's some bad people wearing the robes. These wicked men will be born in states of woe because of their evil deeds. Being a bad person in robes is way worse than being a bad person outside of robes. It would be better to swallow a red-hot iron ball, blazing like fire, than as an immoral and uncontrolled monk to eat the alms of people. Those of you who have heard me say many, many, many times how many, many places in the Buddha is thinking about your long-term benefit, and it'd be better that you died horribly in this life than to have done what you did. Well, here's another example. 4 misfortunes befall a reckless man who consorts with another's wife: acquisition of demerit, disturbed sleep, ill repute, and rebirth in states of woe. Such a man acquires demerit and an unhappy birth in the future. Brief is the pleasure of the frightened man and woman, and the king imposes a heavy punishment. Hence, let not a man consort with another's wife. Just as kusa grass wrongly handled cuts the hand, even so a recluse's life wrongly lived drags one to states of woe. Any loose act, any corrupt observance, any life of questionable celibacy, none of these bear much fruit. If anything is to be done, let one do it with sustained vigor. A lax monastic life stirs up the dust of passions all the more. An evil deed is better left undone, for such a deed torments one afterwards. But a good deed is better done, doing which one repents not later. Just as a border city is closely guarded, both within and without, even so guard yourself. Do not let slip this opportunity for spiritual growth. For those who let slip this opportunity grieve, indeed, when consigned to hell. Those who are ashamed of what they should not be ashamed of, and are not ashamed of what they should be ashamed of, upholding false views, they go to states of woe. That's interesting, huh? Those who are ashamed of what they should not be ashamed of go to states of woe. Very interesting. Those who see something to fear where there is nothing to fear, and those who see nothing to fear where there is something to fear, upholding false views, they go to states of woe. Those who see something to fear when there's nothing to fear. Also very interesting. Those who imagine evil where there is none, and do not see evil where it is, upholding false views, they go to states of woe. Those who discern the wrong as wrong and the right as right, upholding right views, they go to realms of bliss. Fascinating, that. Quite interesting. All right, friends. So we have come to the end. Let's do our final business. So, friends, every Monday night, 8 p.m. is Dhammapalooza. As you see here, 8 p.m. New York time. So if you would like to, if you're new and you'd like to get more information or to find out when there's new things coming up, like articles and streams and YouTube videos, etc., you can go to the website, scrolling on the bottom, Maggasekha.org. And you can click on the top right. The top right of the screen is you can put an email there, click subscribe, and anytime I post something new, you'll get an email notification. On the YouTube, you can also click on the bell and subscribe and do all that jazz. And then every time I go live, every time I put up a new video, you'll get a notification. I do usually have a regular schedule of videos. However, it's been I've been lacking here because I've been quite busy and less energy here. But usually I do a couple things a week. I also do an Insight Timer session. If you're on Insight Timer, Saturdays at 3 p.m. New York time. You can find me there on as a teacher on Insight Timer. We also have the Maggasekha Discord community on the program called Discord. This is a community that both studies and practices in accords with the early texts. So if you're interested in something like that, you can come on with us. Send an email to maggasekha@gmail.com and request an invite, and we'll send you an invite. All right. Let's share screen for the sharing of merits. Dukkha patta chani dukkha, bhaya patta chani bhaya, soka patta chani soka, hantu sabbe pipaniyo, etta vata cha ammehi sampadang punya sampadang, sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya, akasata chabumata deva naga mahiddhika, punyang tang anumoditva charang rakantu sasanang. May the suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit of ours that we've thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas, nagas, and yakas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddhist dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, friends. Until next time, Sukhi Hotu, may you be happy and at ease. Practice well and be well. May you have a spiritually successful and peaceful practice until we meet again. Have a good weekend. Good night.